the political godfather must be somebody who is wealthy. The political godfather need not be Thank you so very much. You are welcome to this session. It's very important that we start by reminding ourselves that we are together in this. If it gets better, it is better for every one of us. I pray and I hope it does not get worse. For it to get better, you and I have a role to play. And we can play that role easily by either liking this session, by liking this video, sharing it, or by making your comments so as to improve. When we improve, we all stand to benefit from an improved environment or an improved society. Very sincerely, those who have made society to work from the ancient, medieval, and contemporary times are volunteers. So you and I must also be part of it, either by liking it, by sharing it, or by making our comments so as to make the discourse as lively as possible. For this session, I would like us to look at, to examine godfathers and politics in Nigeria. To so many people, to different sections of Nigerians, godfathers are simply bad and they don't want to listen. They don't want to hear anything about godfathers in politics in Nigeria. But it is interesting that those who we regard as godfathers are part of the society. And every part of the society has one role or the other to play. The society belongs to every one of us. Every one of us. Those you want to regard as the beautiful, the good, and even the bad. The society belongs to every one of us. It is just only that the government needs to regulate what you and I do so as to have an orderly society. So, who are godfathers? The concept of godfatherism has been badly misunderstood. For me, godfathers are generally those who have a stake in society. And we should not forget the fact that those who are involved in politics do not emerge out of the blue. They are part of society. And originally, those who have so much stake in what society becomes, from my own part of the country, those who are called Baba Adibu, to put it very mildly, area fathers. Baba Adibu are committed volunteers who are interested in the good of society. So, to that extent, are interested in everything that happens in society. So, while you and I withdraw because we feel that we concentrate on what concerns us as individuals alone, there are so many of us like that who are not bothered with what happens elsewhere. And because nature abhors vacuum, there must be some people playing the roles that you and I have refused to play. There are people who are concerned and who are involved in almost every step taken in society. Originally, they are volunteers. And most importantly, volunteers are those who do not expect material rewards immediately in anything that they do. They want society to get better. And on the long run, they will also be beneficiary of a society that works. So it is because you and I are not involved directly that those who are involved are sometimes tempted to exploit. So to that extent, not all political godfathers are evil. There are people who want to ensure that the best in society is put forward. Take, for example, again, among the Yoruba, and I want to believe it is just because that is what I know. In other parts of the country, there is the equivalent of the Omoluabi. In Hausa land, in the Igbo land, in Ishekiri, in Efik, in Gwari, in Nupi, everywhere, we have the equivalent of the Omoluabi. And who is the Omoluabi? The Omoluabi in Yoruba land is that person who is selfless. Is that person who is selfless, is the quintessential individual who is good in what he does. And he pursues what is good for society. He is meticulous in what he does. He does it very well. He's resourceful. He's diligent. He has integrity. And so on and so forth. And so for these people, they are concerned sometimes more than the ordinary. And it is from their cohort that those who are regarded as godfathers, those who ensure. But because the concept has over the years been misinterpreted for those who stand to get material benefits in the immediate. In the past, people come together to nominate and sponsor candidates. And it's because that particular role was eroded. The values were eroded over the years. That is how some unscrupulous elements gained access, gained entrance, and started to play the role that people played in the past for altruistic purposes. They started playing it for their own selfish purposes.
Travel beyond limits. Nothing required from you except your bags. From Nigeria to zero travel limits, DigiFly beyond limits.
And so, to that extent, volunteers must come together again to show interest in what concerns society. We cannot and we should not, for any reason, make the mistake that once it is good for me, whatever happens to society, with due regard, once it is not good for society, it cannot be good for individuals. Society would get better. Individuals will get better. When collectively, we see it as a collective responsibility by coming together, you contributing your little and I contribute my little. Little from different quarters will be aggregated to mean big for the society. Bad things does not just start. Just the same way good things don't start as big. Everything starts little by little, whether good or bad. It starts little by little. And little by little will mean what individuals can do to better society. So to a large extent, if we don't want one political godfather to emerge from nowhere to take advantage of society, you and I must also play that role of a gladiator who is interested in everything that is good for society. No one individual can do it all. But one individual, my people will say a tree does not make a forest. But to a large extent, a forest can start from a tree. So an individual can start it alone once he or she is convinced and the rest of the society applauds. The same way we criticize when something bad is being done, we should be ready to applaud when something good is being done. And by so doing, we will not leave room to negative and naysayers as political godfathers. It is only when you and I do not show sufficient interest that some people will seize that. I said it earlier, vacuum is unnatural. Nature abhors vacuum. And when the good people are not there to fill the vacuum, certainly the negative thinkers, the bad people, will seize that opportunity to fill. So Godfatherism is not a bad one. Godfatherism is for people look for the goodness of society by being able to scout around for those who mean well for society and come together to nominate and sponsor such people. If you look at it very carefully, not all political godfathers put their own biological children or their relatives. They look for people with the good quality materials in society to sponsor. And once it is a consensus, one individual cannot now become the sole dictator to whoever has been nominated or has been pushed forward to represent a particular area or a particular constituency. For an individual not to be the sole figurehead, it means that as individuals and as group of individuals, worship centers, peer groups, in our associational lives, and so on and so forth, we must come together to have a common purpose, have a sense of community, and come together from time to time to nominate and to checkmate whoever is becoming negative in the role of being a political godfather. In recent times, because we have given so much ground to abusers, we have seen governors fighting with their supposed godfathers. There are examples. We have had examples in almost every part of the country. In the current dispensation, we have had people regarded as godfathers putting their godsons as governors. And if we analyze it through the broad framework that I have given, you will see that to a large extent, we should get it very clear that not until lately, those who determined were not those who were wealthy. Not necessarily wealthy, but lately we have granted so much ground to the money factor such that the political godfather must be somebody who is wealthy. The political godfather need not be a rich person. Is only a person who has political goodwill, who enjoys political capital. And anybody can do that once that person is consistent in what he or she does. So, because you have left the space for too long a time, that is why we have seen individuals solely putting governors there and also wanting to solely control the governors. This must be addressed and this must be redressed and it must be done. It can only be done effectively when, for enlightened selfish interest or self-interest, you and I must also come up to have a critical mass. Like I said earlier, when A does it, B does it, and we have a common purpose, it is likely to yield a very successful and fruitful result for society. It's important that we have that in mind. Political godfathers are not necessarily evil. They become evil when society allows them to become so. And they don't become so overnight. They become so gradually, particularly because society does not do what it is required to do. Collectively, we have failed to do what we are expected to do. We are supposed to be the watchdogs of our society, and we cannot. We started living a communal life. We cannot. It is not in our character to live individualistic life. We need to have a sense of community, have a sense of purpose, because it is better when it is done in a group, when it is done as a community. We are much in control of what happens to our society when we do it collectively. We need to be watchful. We need to play our roles as individuals, and we need to come together with a sense of purpose. Once again, I would like to remind our listeners that we all have a role to play in all of this by sharing this video, or by liking it, or by making our comments, so that we can look at these issues from different perspectives. The more we do this, the better for our society. And at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to have a more orderly society and pursue public good, so that our lives are better secured and our livelihood are also better secured. People from time to time like to talk about societies elsewhere that are better governed, that are better ordered. Such societies do not originate or emerge out of the blue. They emerge as a result of what the people have done. To the best of my knowledge, God has never called me to a meeting that I come. This is the way I want to do something. But to the best of my knowledge, I think no race is better than the other. We are all created equal, and we are just only to make the best use of our environment. As a matter of fact, I think we are created to conquer our environment, to make the very best of what we have at any particular point in time. Our environment is very good. The nature is very good. The climatic condition is very good. So we need to make the very best use of it by being part of it, and not abandoning it to particular individuals who can be tempted and can, through temptation, abuse the system that we have abandoned today. So what I'm trying to say is that we cannot equate political godfathers to those who sponsor candidates alone. As a matter of fact, that would be an abuse of the concept of political godfather if what we see as political godfathers are those who take their own money to sponsor a particular candidate for their own interest alone. No. Political godfathers should be those who are interested in the good of society, and those who come together to pursue what is good for society. It is when those who mean well for society do not show interest that those who have evil intent will take over. And that is what we have seen so far in who we condemn as political godfathers. We could equally must also blame political godsons who are not ready to work with like minds, because there are political godsons who know those who they have approached. You rode on the back of a tiger to power. You know that very, 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 very most probably, more than likely, you will be consumed by that tiger. So, to a large extent, what I grew up to know as part of society is that the decent in the society are those who are applauded, not necessarily the rich people. Being rich is good. There is nothing wrong in being rich. As a matter of fact, being rich, being comfortable, being wealthy is part of what the average human being pursues. But richness, particularly in terms of property, is not the sole yardstick to measure those who are good in society. It is when we have reduced ourselves to that level that it is only those who are rich in material terms who can dictate. That is where we got it wrong. And the earlier we return, we go back to basis, the better. When we come to the realization that without being stupendously wealthy, you can still be good to society. It is then we will be ready to erase the negative aspects of Godfatherism. Godfatherism in its original form is not necessarily negative. It is to have a symbol of authority that we look up to. And that symbol of authority that we look up to, it does not necessarily do things for selfish interest. It does it for the good of society. Because once the society is good, it rubs off on every member of the society. It is dangerous when society is in favor of a few, because what that means is that the majority will constantly be in pursuit of the very few who are doing well. If we know it, we will recognize the fact that it is better for a majority of people to have at least relative comfort than for a few to be ostentatious in their living. That's a lot more dangerous than a society where people, where comfort cuts across. Once again, I need to repeat that we will do well for ourselves by sharing, by making our comments, by also liking this video. This today's session essentially discussed political godfatherism, the misconceptions, how it began, and how it has degenerated to this stage that we have today, wherein we have sponsors, in particular, of political offices, elective political offices in particular. And because the governorship seat appears to be the most attractive, we have had instances where states have been rendered ungovernable, or where states have been found almost incapacitated or rendered useless since the beginning of the Fourth Republic. We have had it in almost every geopolitical zone in Nigeria. We have had incidents. We have had instances in the Southwest, in the South-South, in the Southeast, in the North-Central, Northwest, and the Northeast. There are cases like that from time to time. And to a large extent, such political godfathers who have taken advantage did not become who they are overnight. They gradually became such because we have also conceded the grants to them over time. What we should see as our common interest have been left to some people to prey on. We turned them to the predators that they are today, allowing them to take control over the political machinery of society and being the sole sponsors of governors in particular, like I've cited. We should be the powers behind the throne for good, for the good of society. And I think that's the way to go. Thank you for listening. Please continue to share, continue to like, and continue to make your comments on this video.